And coming up tonight, as Parliament orders the General Legal Council to admit 499 students who failed in this year's entrance exam, we examine what this means for the fate of these students and the future of legal education.
The exam is in 2 sections. You should have gotten 50% in each section. Please, how did you come to the conclusion that somebody would get a certain mark out of 100%?
Also tonight, we shine the light on the torture of 20 women in the northeast regional town of Nyankpanduri, accused of witchcraft, as Joy News gets ready to show a fresh documentary on the old age practice of witchcraft in Ghana.
I was scared of witchcraft allegations. The fowl said I was not guilty. The chief then asked me to go back to Sakugu and ordered that we use dialogue to settle our differences.
Shanti Regional Capital Kumasi, there's anger as military men launch an attack on policemen in Swami for arresting one of their own earlier today. And coming up in business.
Government set to crack the whip on workers who fail to pay the pension contributions of their workers.
I know that there are 1 or 2 organizations that do default over a period of time. If that comes to our knowledge, then the necessary legal punishment will be meted out to them.
We have details of these stories and more here on Joy News Prime, coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokomlemle in Accra. We're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Stay tuned in. Hello again, many thanks for joining us. Tonight's Parliament is flexing its muscle against the Chief Justice-led General Legal Council, directing the institution to admit all 499 students denied admission into the Ghana School of Law. The students insist they passed the entrance exam, securing what they describe as the advertised 50% pass mark. They had dragged the school and the General Legal Council to court and filed a petition with Parliament. The Efutu MP, who was incensed over the mass disqualification, described the actions of the General Legal Council as repugnant.
We are saying that they, as a body, advertised the terms of the examination, to the extent that there had been reliance on same, legitimate expectation had been so created, and that they cannot post facto vary such terms. Our directive is to the effect that they should respect those terms. Once you say that 50% is the minimum mark to pass for the law school, so be it. You cannot now introduce some specifics as to how you want the 50% to be obtained. Now you say your exam is in 2 sections, you should have gotten 50% in each section. Please, how did you come to the conclusion that somebody would get a certain mark out of 100%? So it's a simple matter, and we believe that if our lawyers who are members of the General Legal Council and our Chief Justice, who is the head of the General Legal Council, and they respect the rule of law, and they know that one key thing about rule of law is certainty, there should be no problem at all in complying with this resolution. We are not interfering in a judicial process. We are not interfering in the work of the judiciary. Parliament, with its oversight mandate, is exercising same. And we are acting in the public interest. if Parliament, as representative of the people, cannot have a word in this, then I don't see how democracy can operate.
See, my Honour, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I mentioned that the General Legal Council is under the judiciary, which is an independent body of arm of government as well. Parliament is an arm of government as well, and the executive. So there are those who are saying
don't oversimplify the matter by saying General Legal Council is under the judiciary and that you are interfering in the work of an arm of government. You are oversighting, and when you oversight, one of your duties is to direct the wrong to be corrected. And that's what we've done. Any person who is paying attention to it would have no difficulty at all in what we have done. Thank you so much.
But the Speaker was clear that the AG should ensure the full compliance of it. How soon?
Of course, because the
should this be done?
AG is a supervising minister. Our directive was to the effect that same must be enforced forthwith. And the AG should ensure that the needful is done.
What if there's a breach of the directive?
Well, we cannot anticipate a breach. The laws of this country are clear. The Constitution is clear. If you disrespect the orders of Parliament, the consequences are there. So we don't want to be crossing the bridge until we get to it. We are not in any banter. It must be made. The point must be made here. We are not in any banter. We are all fighting for the common good. We want there to be equity. We want there to be fairness. We want there to be justice. We want to see rule of law in its form and shape being respected. That is all. So we don't want to create an impression that we are fighting. And for that matter, if you don't do it, we will hold you before Parliament and proceed with contempt against you and all. No. We expect that these things are about the lives of Ghanaians. And we are not asking for more. We are only asking for what has already been stated.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Asawase Muntaka Mubarak, who backed the decision of the Deputy Majority Leader, also observed that the conservative position adopted by the GLC is retrogressive.
I know that there are a lot of institutions in this country that are very conservative. But you see, with the kind of problems that we have as a country, you cannot keep a conservative position and expect to make progress. This idea, I mean, with the greater respect to the former Chief Justice, we will open up for anybody to become a lawyer. Who is anybody? Every Ghanaian matter, just as your son and daughters. It is not the sons of lawyers and doctors or politicians or the influential that have the only right to be able to have access to any profession in this country. If they don't know what to do, we can tell them that they must go and admit everybody who has passed before admission, before the next academic year starts. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I hope that at least for once, this House, we can stand together and forget about which side you are, because this is something that is affecting all our constituents, regardless of which constituency they are coming from. It's affecting all of us.
Now, other members of Parliament on the floor of the House expressed similar sentiments, while today Parliament took the unprecedented step to pass a resolution that seeks to compel the Council to admit the students. Here's the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joe Osei-Wusu.
The question is, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All against the motion, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Ghana General Legal Council is hereby directed to proceed and admit all the students who pass in accordance with the advertised rules of the examination. Thank you. Under the General Legal Council Act, the Attorney General is the minister responsible, and the law says that he may give general directions. I hereby direct that the Attorney General shall ensure that this resolution is carried through. Thank you.
But a private legal practitioner, Nana Ahafo, disagrees with the decision of Parliament. He argues that they cannot direct the General Legal Counsel in this manner. We'll hear from him shortly. But let's speak to Hassan Asari, who is with the National Association of Law Students. He joins us via Zoom on this. Hassan, you were in court today. First of all, give us an update on what happened in court today.
So let me say good evening to your viewers and listeners. So when we went to court today, our hope was to injunct so that we would have the privilege of going to school as per the provision. So having attained the Mark 50 and being denied admission, we thought we could use the court to actually move the GLC to do what was due them. Unfortunately, the representative from the Attorney General's office requested for an adjournment to file some other documents that she did not have at hand. So the judge actually granted it, and the case was adjourned to the 9th of November.
Very well.
So
now, what is your reaction to the latest development, which is Parliament's directive to the GLC to admit all 499 of you?
I think it's very welcoming, and we need to applaud them for this decision. Over the period, we've not heard them speak for a while, and the news is very welcoming. Unfortunately, we are happy, but we are not celebrating. That is what the position is.
Why
we believe
is that?
We believe that Parliament will do the job of the people, but we are not sure whether GLC will comply, if precedence is anything to go by. Because most often than not, when Parliament speaks or when the court decision is, a court decides on something, they are a bit adamant or would give counter reasons for which they cannot comply. But we are hoping that this time it will work, and that is why we are not jubilating yet.
But Parliament has said that it will assert its authority in this matter. You had the deputy's, majority leader say that there could be consequences if the GLC fails to adhere.
As much as I believe in what they said, and I so believe also that the GLC is an administrative body by itself, we would rather wait for the outcome of the directive to be enforced. When we are admitted, then we have the right to jubilate. But until then, we will just keep our case and also go to court as per what we have started and hope that something, whichever way, we just want to go to school. So if it comes from Parliament or if it comes from the courts, we are just ready. All we want to do is to go to school. That's what we are looking for.
And talking about your case, which is in court, will this decision affect it in any way? Have you been speaking to your lawyers?
Well, with my leaders coming together to discuss the case, we are not withdrawing it from court until we are admitted. You see, you may withdraw it and a reason may come. For example, the president saying there is no space. I heard the Parliament says they are willing to even support or increase the budget or whatever finances the GLC needs to ensure that we are admitted, which is very welcoming too. But whichever way, it's better that we keep the two to ensure we've been admitted, then we can look at dropping one and then going to school. That's it.
Very well. Thank you very much. That's Hassan Asari. He's with the leadership of the National Association of Law School Students here in Ghana. You're watching Johnny's Prime with me, Ernest Mino. Amnesty International wants government to immediately withdraw the proposed promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021. The bill, according to the Human Rights Organization, denies persons the human dignity guaranteed to all persons under Section 15 of Ghana's 1992 Constitution. Country Director of Amnesty International, Frank Doi, revealed this at a media briefing in Kumasi. There's more in the following report.
Ghana is one of the African countries struggling to accept LGBTQ plus persons. The Anti-LGBTQ plus bill is in Parliament awaiting approval. Reactions from many have been disgust and hatred. Amnesty International, an international non-governmental organization, has recorded incidents of abuse, threats to the lives of alleged LGBTQ plus persons. The NGO says the bill violates the right to freedom of expression, association and privacy. Frank Doi is country director of Amnesty International Ghana.
Amnesty International Ghana is calling on the Ghanaian Parliament and the government to immediately withdraw the proposed promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Value Bill 2021 from consideration. This bill gravely contravenes the principles of equality and non-discrimination. It violates the principles of the rights to freedom of expression, association, and privacy, and the prohibition of torture enshrined in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana and international human rights treaties ratified by Ghana.
Amnesty International assures that it is neither promoting nor encouraging the practice of LGBTQ+. Rather, they seek to protect the best interest of all. The organization wants Parliament to take a second look at the bill. They fear failure to do so may put the whole country at risk.
That we are not promoting LGBT because LGBT is just a combination of letters. We are not advocating for people to be LGBT people. We are not encouraging people to go about describing themselves in one form or the other. Amnesty International does not oppose or support any form of sexual orientation. Our business simply is to protect the fundamental human rights and freedoms of all citizens without discrimination, without distinction. And this is what our laws provide for all.
Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
A simple quarrel with a neighbor resulted in a serious allegation that she is a witch. Although a ritual declared her not guilty of being a witch, her accuser still chopped off her hand and fled. This is the story of Asibi Dut, a woman in the Northeast region who is pleading with the Ghana Police Service to give her justice. Jojo Kobna brings you snippets of his latest documentary, Finding the Witch Hunters.
Lady picked a quarrel with me, and her son accused me of being a witch. Later, the people in the village took me to the Gambaga witch camp. They performed rituals which showed I was not a witch, so I came back to the village. The boy came to attack me at home. He was aiming for my neck, but I blocked it with my hand and he chopped it off. He fled, and to date, the police say they can't find him. I was home alone. I was cooking when someone charged at me. He was aiming for my neck, but I saw it fast enough and instinctively blocked it with my hand. So my hand got chopped off.
That is the story of Asibi Dut, a 40-year-old woman who is a resident of Sakogu in the Northeast region of Ghana. For the past 8 years, she has been living without one hand. Her woes started when a young man accused her of being a witch. Asibi said a lady in her community picked a quarrel with her, and subsequently, the lady's son accused her of being a witch. Asibi took the accusation lightly, but realized the seriousness of the allegation when people in the community sent her to the witch camp in Gambaga to test whether she was a witch or not. The way a chicken died would determine her fate and the entire course of her life. In northern Ghana, when you are accused of witchcraft, you have to bear the full cost of the ritual. So Asibi took care of the full cost, and the ritual confirmed that she was not guilty.
I was scared of witchcraft allegations. The fowl said I was not guilty. The chief then asked me to go back to Sakogu and ordered that we use dialogue to settle our differences.
Asibi, who was 8 months pregnant, said she thought she was free, but the young man had other plans.
I was home alone. I was cooking when someone charged at me. He was aiming for my neck. He tried to cut it off with a machete, but I saw it fast enough and instinctively blocked it with my hand. So my hand got chopped off. He then fled. To date, the police say they can't find him.
Asibi was left broken.
As soon as we say you are a witch, even small children can beat you. They can do anything to you, nobody cares.
She had now mastered ways of living independently and taking care of her son. Her husband also traveled to southern Ghana and never gets in touch with her. She feels pains when the remaining hand is not covered. She cooks and does many other chores with one hand. She feels the young man who chopped off her hand had stolen her joy in life.
I am really pained. I am hurt. Now I can't do anything. And the boy who did this to me is free.
Asibi is yearning for two things: money to start her own business, and also for the police to track down the perpetrator, who is still on the run.
So that's the story of Asibi Dude, and that is coming up in our latest Hotline documentary, The Witch Hunters, produced by Jojo Kobna. Producer of the documentary joins me in the studio. Jojo, a very sad story there, but is this the only story we can expect in the documentary?
No, we have quite a number of stories in that particular documentary. We have quite a number of characters. There's this character, a 61-year-old Mary Ibrahim. Last year, August, she was attacked by a group of young men. And the reason they attacked her was because they said she was successful in her business. And so she was using juju, and so they came for her and they really cut her. They cut a part of her face, they were trying to cut her neck, they cut one part of her fingers off, 2 fingers off. So her side was cut, she was badly butchered. It was like just slicing her, a human being that is just being sliced, I mean, at the butcher shop. Fortunately, after months of treatment, she recovered. And unfortunately, the most unfortunate thing is that this particular case was settled out of court, and the woman is very, very, very pained. We have another child who talked in her sleep. She's in the Gambaga witch camp, talked in her sleep, and that child, they called her a witch. They went to the witch camp, slaughtered a fowl. The fowl said she was not a witch, but they still kept her. The child.
So several cases of abuse that have not been well treated, and the people are just calling for justice.
Exactly. We have several cases like that. The people are calling for justice. The people know the accusers. The people know the people who harmed them, the people who threatened them, the perpetrators. But the state has not done much to protect them.
Jojo, thank you very much. But as we talk about this, we have another report of torture of another woman accused of witchcraft in northern Ghana. The chief of Nyankpanduri in the northeast region is demanding the arrest of a group of individuals who connived with a fake Togolese witch doctor to torture and extort large sums of money from over 20 elderly women in the town.
This is Mary Dute, an 80-year-old resident of Nyankpanduri who has been accused of being a witch. This location is a notorious torture camp for witchcraft allegation victims and mentally ill persons who are dumped here mostly by family relatives. Run by a former tribal warlord, the camp is found in the Togolese community of Barkosi, which is less than 10 kilometers from the Bumpurgu border post at Yamburi in the Bumpurgu Nyankpanduri district. This woman has not committed any crime, but one of the women at the camp mentioned her during her false confession. In this video footage, the 80-year-old woman is being made to go through the purification ceremony to prove her innocence or otherwise. A ritual which often involves the slaughter of chickens, where the innocence or guilt of the accused is then determined by the final poster of the chicken as it dies. However, this is done differently among members of the Bimoba ethnic tribe. In this process, this white fowl is tied to this magical stick. Mary, the accused, is made to hold the stick while reciting the following incantations. If I am a witch, this fowl should die. If I am a witch, this fowl should die. After a while, the fowl is loosened up to fall from the stick. Mary, after the process, was asked not to leave the camp until her family could pay a fine of 3,000 Ghana cedis for her exorcism. There were several other women detained at the camp waiting to go through this traumatic process and to pay hefty fines before gaining their freedom. They were, however, rescued by personnel of the Togolese army who raided the camp and arrested the witch doctor following a complaint filed by a victim relative to the Ghanaian embassy in Togo. Upon their return to Nakpanduri, the women were attacked and their houses vandalized by the accusers who insist they must be banished. Mary has since been taken out of the town due to safety concerns, but her daughter Fusina Dut, who was with her at the camp, spoke to Joy News.
Ma, yokotu omo hono na mani ye 7. Ma ye yokotu omo no omo ye 7. Eno omo yi baako ansana yen yekurom hafo na omo de omo koye no. No omo ye 6. We
met 7 other women at the camp. My mother arrived together with 6 others, but later over 20 women were also forced here. The room where the women sleep has no door.
That is Ilyasu Tanko's report. Ilyasu joins us with some more on this. Ilyasu, we know that she has been taken out of the town for safety, but what has the police said about this? Has it been reported, first of all, to the police?
Well, yes, Senes, the case has been reported to the Bunkrugu Nakpanduri District Police, but my understanding is that because of the number of suspects involved and the fact that the police does not have the personnel, these suspects are still in the town, still going about threatening these women. In fact, Mary is not the only woman who was sent to, she's not the only woman who was sent to this torture camp in Togo. There were over 20 women, all of them from the Bunkrugu township, forced to this torture camp by this group of suspects. And when they returned after the arrest of the native doctor or the witch doctor, when the women returned, the accusers attacked them, vandalized their houses. And as I speak to you now, the women tell me that they are unable to go out since the incident happened because the accusers still follow them, attack them anytime they see them outside. And so, yes, the matter has been reported to the police in the district, but no arrest has been made yet.
You talk about the chief calling for the arrest of the perpetrators, but this practice has been going on for a while now. Is the chief not aware that this is something that has been happening? And what have they been doing as traditional leaders to stop this?
Well, my understanding is that the chief is much aware of the practice. And when I met him, I asked him, he said that he's been asking the people to take the suspect to Gambaga, but they refused and they took them to Togo. And my understanding is also is that when the people, when the women, after the arrest of the witch doctor, when the women returned, the accusers summoned them before the chief palace, and the chief then asked the women to go back to the place. But when I asked the chief, he denied these allegations and said that he has always maintained that anytime someone is suspected of being a witch, the person should be taken to Gambaga. So the chief is much aware of this practice happening in the town.
Ilyasu, thank you very much for the update. Let's speak to Haji Alamnatu, who works with the Rights Campaign Group, Sogtaga, based in the northern region capital, Tamale. She too has worked for years rescuing women accused of witchcraft. Madam, thank you very much for your time here on Joy News Prime. What are the challenges standing in the way of people like yourself and your organization calling for justice for accused women?
Good evening and good evening to our listeners and viewers. This is a sad situation, and one of the challenge is that these women, as you see, locked up inside, cannot come out. What it means is that if they were doing any livelihood activities, it has come to an end. We cannot even guarantee their safety because in as much as this case has been reported, how is the police guaranteeing their safety even as they stay in the community? Their property has been vandalized. Who is talking to these women? They are left in the mercy of their perpetrators. One other thing is that our traditional authorities need to work with law enforcement agencies. There's no need to say that any accusation must end up in a witch camp. The police is there because one findings we are getting is that some of the time when the accusations start and the police get on time, then we see that the situation becomes better. But many times it ends up, if you look at this case, for example, it's even gone beyond our borders. And so there seems not to be even motivation to go ahead and report because for the perpetrators, communities know where they are, yet they are not owning up to support. Last year, we woke up to the Kafaba case. Yes. It is still being dragged. We need to see that the suspects, are prosecuted immediately. But when these cases are dragged and bails are given and all of that is given, eventually the victim, loses the motivation to continue to even go to court. That is if it ends up in court, because many of these cases are withdrawn and are asked to settle at home. And this will let others to continue. For those who are lucky and the cases are in the courts, how is government supporting them to pursue it? How is government supporting them? I still make reference to the Kafaba case. The case is being held in Tamale, and the victims' children have to commute from Salaga and back to Tam. Sometimes they go and the defense lawyer is not there, and they have to commute back. Now, who is taking care of all of this? Eventually, they will be left to settle with anything. And then before we wake up, another incident happens.
Madam, I'm grateful for your time. You and your team have been calling for justice for some of these women, but you seem to have impediments your way from law enforcement agencies, as well as lack of legal support for some of the accused. We'll be following up on these stories, and we'll bring you more in our latest Hotline documentary, Witch Hunters, produced by Jojo Kobna. You're watching Johnny's Prime with me, Ernest Minu. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll bring you more, including the latest in business and sports. Plus, Johnny's editorial. Don't go away.
The Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations is set to take this particular action to ensure that the welfare of workers in Ghana is secured. According to the Sector Minister, Ignatius Bafo-Ewa, this is part of efforts to ensure that there is a clean-up in Ghana's pension regime. There is more in this report.
Out of 34 million Ghanaians, only 2 million are rolled onto various pension schemes. In the formal sector, some employers refuse to pay the Tier 1 and 2 pension premium. Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo-Ewa, says legal action will be taken against recalcitrant employers.
I know that there are 1 or 2 organizations that do default over a period of time. If that comes to our knowledge, then the necessary legal punishment will be meted out to them. But you can also help us as an employee. Because we may not have ears everywhere in the country. So if you give us a whistle blower distance, it will help us to be able to monitor and to also reach your employers.
The National Pension Regulatory Authority, NPRA, has observed an increase in old age poverty among informal sector workers. The authority is educating informal sector workers to contribute to the voluntary Tier 3 group or personal pension scheme to secure their pensions. Lawyer Hayford Atakrufi is the CEO of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA.
For me, is a collective responsibility, because our aim is within 5 years to reach 40% of the informal sector. That is a daunting task. Because if you look at even the size of the people who came here today and compared to the size of the informal sector out there, there needs to be more to be done. Old age poverty, especially among the informal sector, is increasing, and they constitute 85% of the population. So it is our collective responsibility to bring this news to them.
Chairman of the Association of Vulcanizers, Robert Aite, laments the loss of savings in the financial sector cleanup has deterred some informal sector players from contributing to the pension fund.
To say trust no ekofo. We
do not trust these pension funds companies and financial institutions, but the minister has assured us to have confidence in the sectors. I will engage and educate members of my association.
Meanwhile, the Asantehene Otunfo Oseidutu II wants strict supervision of the activities of the various trustees of pension funds. He believes this will whip up the interest of the populace in contributing towards their retirement. Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
Now, majority of banking executives are raising concerns about Ghana's proposed digital currency set to be introduced from next year. Now, these concerns were captured in the PricewaterhouseCoopers 2021 Banking Survey on Digital Currencies. George Riafi has more in this report.
The flagship PricewaterhouseCoopers banking survey showed that 85% of all banking executives engaged in the 23 commercial banks had some issues with this e-currency. They maintain that there is still some lack of understanding and the associated infrastructure requirements about this whole project. These commercial banks were even worried about the potential demands that the regulator will place on them when it finally launches the ECD. There were also issues about the expected technology that will be used, as well as the funding requirements. The banking executives also believe that the regulator should be guided by the current growth of mobile money in the country before it rolls out the e-currency. The march talked about digital currency should be called ECD is expected to be rolled out on pilot basis before the end of this year. The Bank of Ghana is then looking forward to fully introduce it from next year. It is not clear for now how these concerns may influence the rollout plan of the Bank of Ghana.
That'll be it for business. We have sports coming up to stay.
Many thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sport. I'm Hans Mensah, and the Great Olympics head coach Anna Walker has set his sights on finishing among the top two teams in this season's Premier League. Now, despite losing some key players, Walker is optimistic of a good campaign. My colleague Muftar Nabil Abdullahi was at their training grounds and comes through with his report.
First time in as many seasons, Great Olympics survived and maintained their status as a Ghana Premier League team at the end of last season, and they were arguably one of the best sides, having been part of the top four teams until the final round of the competition. Well, they are preparing again, hoping that this season is going to be much better than what they had last year. However, they'll be without the services of some of the key players that made them one of the most indomitable sides in the Ghana Premier League. Glasson Awako, Samuel Ashikwe, and Michelle Otu, who has completed a move to Legon Cities. Well, these were players who made Anawaka's side one of the best teams. However, Anawaka is still very optimistic of having a very good campaign.
My regular side, I've lost Awako and Michelle. I'll miss them. But for now, those I've had have made me happy in a way that I'm only looking at my first match, then I conclude that I'm happy having replacement. But what I'm seeing has also given me the confidence. Yeah.
Great Olympics opens their campaign against Real Tamale United, a team that is making a return to the Ghana Premier League for the first time in as many as 8 years. They were unable to survive when they last participated in the Ghana Premier League in 2013, and the unfortunate of it was that they ended the campaign without winning a single match. This is a record they would want to avoid, but Anna Walker is very confident that he's got a side capable of winning. Come Sunday.
I play in Tamale, and a team that I have been out from the Premiership for years, and for God's sake, they have come back.
Yeah.
They also do all they can to stay in the league.
Now, Anna Walker's Great Olympics may have a target of finishing in the top 2 places, but their fans would have to be vaccinated if they want to watch his team win matches and achieve this target, following a no vaccination, no entry policy directive by the Ghana FA. Some fans are unhappy with the move.
Because it's not everybody who has gotten the vaccination. It should have come 3 months earlier so that people would know what to do, so that a lot of people will get to the vaccination. I'll just ignore, because the vaccination is something else.
Well, I think it's a good idea. Though I have not gone for my vaccination yet. I think it's a good idea because the COVID is still out there and we still need to protect ourselves.
We heard that news, but it's not help us, because in Ghana here, I'm sure many people cannot take in the vaccine. So the government use that way there. It doesn't help us because many people, they don't get the vaccine. Yeah.
It's a good step in the right direction. But one thing that they should also know is that in the steps in fighting COVID-19, we have what we call protocols, not just protocol. And that includes our washing of our hands, the nose, putting on of nose mask and then all that. Some people will take steps in fighting this, and when we enter the stadium, they should understand that we are the people. We love the game, and we want to be at the stadium to watch most things live, not just someone telling us about it. If I've washed my hands, if I've put on nose mask, I'm also in that step as well. But when you get into the stadium and someone has taken a jab, it also reduces the risk of, let me say, transmitting the virus as well. So we'll plead with them that if it's possible, they should just rethink also and then decide better and also open a new way.
A quick update from the Ghana Premier League. It's logged at 1-1 between Accra Lions and Elmina Sharks. Game well into stoppage time. Michel Sapon on loan from Accra Hearts of Oak with the first goal of the season, and he scored for Elmina Sharks, and that of course was cancelled out by Raul Salifu for Accra Lions. That's it for now. We'll bring you more sports later in the bulletin.
And time now for the latest in showbiz. In a month where we observe World Mental Health Day, rapper Kwao Kese has shared his private battles with depression and how he overcame it. According to Kwao Kese, he contemplated suicide at some point. He spoke on Joy Prime this morning.
In 2014, my manager was murdered in cold blood. I saw it.
Which workout? We will come to that year.
The same year, I got arrested and sent to jail. You know, I went through depression that nobody knew about it. I had to fight it myself. So, you know.
In that state of depression, did you ever consider taking your life?
At one time, I was in the US and stuff like that was, you know, hitting me, but I was strong enough.
How did you fight yourself out of depression? Because this is something that a lot of artists, and some time back we had a conversation on this show about artists going through depression. Some of them were the fact that, well, they didn't come out to say anything, but they said, oh, you know, if it happens, maybe it's the fact that you're a human being, you can go through depression, it's fine. But as an artist and the things you went through, you know, how were you able to just walk out of it as a word of advice to people who are probably even going through worse?
You know, one time I was sitting there talking to myself and I was making an example of myself and I was like, hey, people, when I come on social media, when I went on, like when the depression came in, I wasn't on social media, nothing. I was out for like 6 months, you know. And one time I came on Facebook and I just did a live on Facebook and I see all these people, you know, the messages, positive messages. So I was talking to myself, I said, you know, people love me no matter what. And these people, I have to make them proud.
So it wasn't about you, it was about
it was about, you know, people.
So that's Kwao Kese there, sharing his mental health battles on Prime Morning. You can find more entertainment story when you log on to myjoyonline.com. That's it for Showbiz. Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. 3 years ago, government launched the Nation Builders Corps, NABCO. The scheme, which had 100,000 graduates, according to government figures, was meant to be a training program to make young people employable and to offer some permanent jobs in places where their services were needed. Today, the program is ending for the first batch, and thousands of young people who are on it are living in uncertainty as government is yet to make a clear determination of their future. Now, the announcement of the program signaled hope. Here's President Akufo-Addo when he first announced the program in May 2018.
With the ultimate aim being to help guarantee employability of these graduates. Placements would last for a period of 3 years, earning them a stipend of 700 Ghana cedis every month. This is a modest but important beginning towards the restoration of their dignity. Beneficiaries will also receive continuous skills training and retraining on the job, both to equip and guide their future career paths. The security offered by this graduate employment scheme implies that graduates have sufficient time to make prudent choices on their future entry onto the labor market, on potential interests of starting businesses and entrepreneurship, and even on definitive clarity on further learning options, guided by experiences and the benefit of exposure to the world of work. NABCO is placing particular emphasis on some essential core values that are key to building and transforming a nation, and which will be imparted to beneficiaries. Values such as integrity, professionalism, hard work, patriotism, and good customer relations are deemed crucial for any nation to achieve significant output from the productive efforts of its workforce. In establishing performance indicators and standards for NABCO trainees, the scheme will deliberately target evaluative efforts of them to ensure the trainees exit comprehensively preferred for the labor market. Ladies and gentlemen, I hear you asking what is going to be done about persons who do not have diplomas or degrees. The answer is this. NABCO is freeing up the Youth Employment Agency, YEA, of the burden of dealing with everything to do with employment amongst the youth.
So when it was launched in front of thousands of beneficiaries at the Blackstone Square, many were optimistic this would open doors for them to finally secure a permanent job.
I completed university in 2014, but life hasn't been easy for any of the unemployed graduates. But then, with this initiative, it has given me confidence, because as a man, you need to be financially stable, and this initiative is providing such for us.
Having graduates and then you with your certificate and then you're in the house, you're doing nothing. Like I said, the depression, the psychological effect alone is huge. So when I heard it, in fact, initially I felt good about it. Just that, like I always said, people had issue with the salary, but I wasn't so much perturbed about the salary, because what I knew was that in life you need a starting point, and I realized that it was a good starting point for some of us to really begin our career and start doing something.
Well, it's been 3 years. While some have moved on into some jobs, many are still not sure what the future holds. I'm joined on Zoom by some of them across the country. Joining me is Mary Boafo, who is from the Ahafo West municipality in the Western region. Mary, how has the last 3 years been for you?
Hello, good evening to all of you, the viewers. It has been a very long journey, and the experience hasn't been, it has been an interesting experience. And then we thank the government for the opportunity he gave to some of us as some were saying that we didn't have, we didn't know what the future was holding, but the government has helped us. So we thank the government, and the experience has been so joyful and interesting.
Which particular module were you working under?
I was at Educate Ghana.
Okay, so you taught in some schools, or what exactly were you doing?
I taught in a classroom, and it wasn't only one classroom. It was a number of classrooms, because every term you are being transferred to another classroom. So it was an interesting experience.
Some of you, we understand, have been given permanent jobs. What is your situation like?
Okay, I haven't been given a permanent job yet. We are hoping that after this program, the government will give us a permanent job. And throughout the program too, we were given experiences regarding establishing our own businesses. So I think we will move on.
Well, we seem to have lost Mary there. Ebenezer also joins us via Zoom. Ebenezer, we have a good connection to you. Tell us how the experience has been for you in the last 3 years.
Okay, thank you very much. For the past 3 years, it's been very nice. You know, NABCO at the time when we had completed, and so when it came in, we had the opportunity to, also show what we have. It's been nice. It's been a good experience. For the past 3 years, I think it's been good.
Which particular model were you working under? And do you have a permanent job now, part of those few?
I was on a May I be just so I'm home now.
You are home now. I heard some of your colleagues say that they were giving training on entrepreneurship, and some of them are using those skills, the knowledge they've acquired, to start up their own business. What are you doing?
Yeah, we had different ways for the pathway, and so there was people who chose the entrepreneurship. I, for example, chose permanent employment, and so for us, we received anything yet. We are waiting on government. We don't know what comes out yet, but we are waiting.
Thank you very much. So those are some of the NABCO trainees we've been speaking to. Many of them who do not have jobs now, they do not know what the future holds for them. But some of them also want to engage in other businesses by themselves. Let's talk to the PRO of the Secretariat. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, this is the PRO of the Association of NABCO Trainees. So your contract has essentially ended. What is the way forward for you?
Thank you very much. And let me take this opportunity to express my greetings to NABCO trainees who have, over the 3 years, seriously, relentlessly to improve the productivity of this country. Respectfully, as it stands now, the management of the NABCO program haven't engaged us. We have not received any official communique or official information from management as to whether we are going home or we are still being on the scheme. And over the years, career pathway transition process was launched, and that was option to usher beneficiaries into the permanent mainstream job. And it was categorized into 3 options. The first one was permanent employment. The second one was entrepreneurship approach. And then the last one was further learning. And so we were being coached by our coordinators. We acted on our choices. Trainees, section of trainees who would like to establish their own business, a selected entrepreneurship approach, and also trainees who would want to be maintained in their corporate environment that they are working with now, also selected permanent employment. As it stands, we have gone through all the necessary directive, the necessary instruction by management, and today we were expecting the NABCO management to have sent us even a UCO message, but we didn't get it. And so as it stands, we don't know what the future holds for us. We actually know that we have acted on the career pathway transition process. We have gone through all the necessary procedures, and so we are waiting to hear something that is highly optimistic, something beneficial, something hopeful from the NABCO management.
That's the PRO of the coalition of NABCO trainees, and the issue of jobs is the subject of our editorial today.
Now, if you've never been in a tight situation of searching for a job, you would not understand the pressures of being unemployed, the anxiety, the bouts of depression, and pains that gnaw at your heart is indescribable. Many unemployed youth battle this frustration daily. After school, students bag degrees and dream of landing sweet jobs until life and reality knocks them hard. Recently, the government organized a job fair, and you could see the teeming numbers of people who besieged the Accra International Conference Center. This week, the security agencies started their recruitment process, and we all saw how the youth flooded various centers hoping they would get jobs. 28,000 people applied to be recruited into Ghana's immigration service, but only about 2,000 would be selected.
Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, don't worry. Just give us a phone, okay?
No.
Stop crying. Very, 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 very emotional. The security services have always recruited in the past. So what has changed? The numbers. The number of young unemployed people has ballooned over the years to the point now where it appears to overwhelm everyone and not just the government of the day. The task of providing employment for the youth has been addressed in various forms by successful governments. Under the Kufuor administration, we had the NYAP modules. Under President Mahama, we had the JIDA module. And President Akufo-Addo's administration also came with NABCO, of which some of the trainees' contracts are coming to an end today. We all know what that means. More unemployed people sitting at home. But these numbers we are seeing for the immigration and fire recruitments also show that people are desperate to put their hands and their minds to work.
I'm 30 years of age. I went to the school at the age of 25 years, hoping to graduate and get a job, but it's not like that. When you finish school after national service, you have your national service certificate, you'll be applying for a job. But you cannot get it because Ghana does this. I don't know how the system works.
I entered the university 2014 and I completed in 2018. So after my service, I've sent numerous applications. And
do you know how many you've written?
I can't count. Both handing, physical and online, I can't count. Applying online, sending CVs physical to various offices, I can't count.
Well, recently, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, announced that Ghana's payroll is full and that reality dawned on many people. Now, government is the biggest employer. And as you can see behind me, in 2012, the unemployment rate was 5.93. In 2015, it was 6.81. In 2018, it was 4.16. It came down. But it went up again in 2020, and the rate there was 4.53. So it's been rising. Ghana is faced with 12% youth unemployment. 50% of Ghana's workforce are underemployment. Both youth employment and underemployment are higher than the overall unemployment rates. Now, government is the biggest employer, but unfortunately, not all persons can be employed by the public service. The youth is being asked to be their own bosses. People would have to learn to be entrepreneurs. That is one solution. Another truth is that not all persons can be entrepreneurs. Some people are just not built to take risks. So how is the government helping the youth eager to create jobs to flourish. The government has created the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program to help the youth set up their own businesses. This is a step in the right direction, but the government needs to do more. We need to see more small business incubation centers. We acknowledge that government's One District, One Factory program has created jobs. We demand more vigorous programs to create more jobs. We want more creative plans to support the youth to excel. When people are jobless and they feel hopeless, they become tools for crimes. That becomes a bigger national security issue. We must drum home the point that vocational and technical jobs are also fulfilling jobs. Our universities must fashion courses that would aid job creation. Government must create more opportunities so that the youth will not dangerously migrate to Western countries for jobs. You've heard the phrase, nowhere cool, but our home should at least be cool enough.
Many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Police and military officers clashed at the Swami suburb of Kumasi Friday over the arrest of a military officer for flouting traffic regulations. Some military officers stormed the Swami Divisional Police Headquarters and assaulted police officers in an attempt to free their colleague from custody. Inshira news sources say the accident or incident happened at around 10:40 a.m. after police MTTD officers arrested the military officer in Mufti for riding an unregistered motorcycle at a spot near the Wesley College, that's Wesco. Whilst being interrogated, the military officer is said to have made a phone call alleging he has been assaulted by the arresting officers. Ohiming Teya joins us via Zoom with more on this. Ohiming, so we know that there was some form of a clash between the police and the military. How was this issue settled or resolved?
My understanding is that it took the regional police commander and that of the 4 battalion commander to resolve the issue. And so a reinforced team from the regional patrol unit were dispatched to the Swami police station, and they whisked the military officer who had then been arrested and kept at the Swami police station away to the regional police headquarters.
Were there any injuries on the part of the officers who were allegedly assaulted by the military officers, the police, I mean?
Honestly, information on the incident has been very, very scanty. For instance, the Swami divisional commander has been tight-lipped, and the regional, he actually directed that I speak to the regional police PRO, who also then told me he's not been authorized to speak to the issue. So later had to cultivate, sources and use my sources, and that is where I got to know that indeed the incident happened at the Wesley College area after the officer, had been arrested for traffic regulation, flouting road traffic regulations. And even at that point, the details that I got were a bit scanty. So I had to speak to several people, including traders who trade around the Swami roundabout. So there's this information that, yes, the military officer was somehow assaulted even before he was sent to the police station by the police officers. And there's also another account which indicates that the military officers, the angry military officers who stormed the police station also did assault some of the officers on duty. The police said they were the arresting officers who were assaulted. So for now, I can't confirm that any of the people involved had been injured, but subsequently we will find out as and when we continue to probe further.
Thank you very much. That's Ohim Interior with our security desk. But the police has issued a statement on this development. I will bring you what they have been saying shortly on our screens. It says that the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Armed Forces High Command have taken notice of an incident that happened in Kumasi today, Friday, October 29, 2021 at about 10 a.m. Details received indicates that a young man in civilian clothing riding an unregistered motorcycle was arrested by the police and sent to the Swami police station for investigations. He was later identified as a soldier with the 4th Battalion of Infantry in Kumasi. The soldier is alleged to have called his colleagues who came to the station. A misunderstanding ensued between the soldiers and the police. The impasse was resolved after the intervention of the Ashanti Regional Police Command and the commanding officer of the 4th Infantry Battalion in Kumasi. The Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Armed Forces have commenced a full-scale investigation into the incident, and anyone found culpable will be dealt with administratively and according to law. The two security institutions are committed to a harmonious relationship and will not condone any proven act of wrongdoing of personnel. We want to assure the general public of our unflinching commitment to peace, security, and harmony in the country. And this is signed by ACP Kwesi Fori, the Acting Director General, Public Relations of the Police Service, and also the Commander Andy La Anyane, the Acting Director, Public Relations, Ghana Armed Forces. So this is a joint statement from the police and the Ghana Armed Forces. Now, away from that, they started their 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz campaign by winning the maiden edition of the Northern Zonal Championship as they conquered schools from all 5 regions up north. Well, tonight they have proven to be worth that title as they scored the highest points so far in the preliminary rounds to advance to the 1/8 stage of the competition. With 79 points at the end of 5 rounds against St. Francis Girls SHS and Bongo SHS, the undisputed champions of the North say this year is their year. Manuel Kranting has more from Tamale.
So before the very final contest that featured Tamale Senior High School, everybody thought that Notre Dame Senior High School was getting the day's highest score of 69 points. 69 good points. Well, at the end of the very final contest, which featured Tamale Senior High School, it had scored 79 points, just 1 point shy of the dreaded 80 points that has been the reserve of NSMQ gurus like Presec Legon and then, of course, Prempeh College. Well, with all of that, it's time to at least hear from the people who now can confidently refer to themselves as the bona fide champions of the Northern Zone. This is because, first of all, they won the Northern Zonal Championship earlier in May, and now they have scored the highest set of points in the preliminary stage. I mean, it can't get any better than that. Tamasco! The Lions! Tamasco! The Lions! Tamasco! The Lions! Oh, indeed, and I hear a lot of the Lions roaring now. I don't want to get, devoid by the Lions. But how does it feel? You don't seem to have size in the Northern region. Do you have any size here?
No size. Like, you yourself, when you see Abi, there's no size. Like, this one is just a small thing. This one is even small. Kumasi will see show.
This show is small.
Like, this one is just small. No, this is just the beginning. Even the regional championship, everything small. Like, seriously. No, Anya Kalara. Like, I'm not seriously. No, I'm serious. Wallahi tallah, you see show. Serious.
So we see show.
You see show.
Oh, no, but you see, this is not the first time that Tamasco is, for instance, pulling its weight in the qualifiers. It's a thing you do almost always in the Northern Zone. You seem to be the champion. Let me speak to the bandana guy. They say that you is Shotana. People don't. Okay, let me speak to you. They say people don't have size in the Northern region, correct?
No, we don't have size. We are always the best. It is written. The people know that in the Northern region, we are the Northern Light. So no matter, we want to face Presec, Prempeh College, I decided all of them. When we go, beat all of them, Kumasi.
And so, all right, go ahead, cool down. So the guys from Presec, from Adisadel, and then Prempeh, they now are endangered species because the lions here say they want to devour them.
Okay. If they want, they should come today. Today. If they want, they should come today.
Who are you actually talking about? Who should come?
Them, like those who claim they are big schools. Them,
so all of them should join at this school presec. All of them should join one team.
Yes, we are ready for them. We are just ready. We beat them.
Yes. I want to hear some of the ladies because it's almost always like the guys are the ones making noise. Do you really believe that the things that your guys are saying? They say you don't have size in the country.
Yeah, we believe in Damasco. Damasco, they can do much and much better. This one is just common this. If we go to Accra, there we'll do more than that.
What about you? Is it not just talk that you are talking? Is it not just talk?
No, this is not a talk. You saw what we did. Look at the gap. Look at the gap. The second school. Look at the gap we gave them. Now think of the face. The whole northern sector. Look, we take it, and the whole place. So the whole Ghana. What if we meet Prempeh and Co? What will we do to them? We'll smash them. We'll smash them.
This is Johnny's Prime. We're taking a short break. When we return, we'll bring you more in business. Stay with us.
In business, Ghana is notably one of the productive countries in Africa when it comes to agriculture. Cocoa is Ghana's principal agricultural export, and there are now an estimated 720,000 cocoa farmers. Goso is one of the leading cocoa producers in the country. Despite this, access to good road networks remain the leading challenge. My colleague Emma Davis visited Goso, the capital of Ahafo region, and has the rest of the story.
The capital of the newly created Ahafo region of Ghana, it doubles as the capital of the Asnafo North Municipal District. Goso has a very rich vegetation cover. It's one of the food baskets in Ghana. The forest cover of the area is very thick and supports various farming activities. The predominant occupation of the residents is farming, mainly cocoa farming and cultivation of food crops. Food production in Goso is very high as compared to other parts of the country, which led the government to launch one of its flagship programs, the Planting for Food and Jobs, in this town. Today, I visited one of the cocoa farms at Boachiusia, a suburb of Goso, to taste cocoa right from the tree. I noticed that the farm is well kept and barely had any pest or infected pods. All through Boachiusia, there were cocoa seeds dried up on mats in front of houses. Though they depend on taps and boreholes situated at vantage points, they do not complain about access to water for farming activities. Wednesday is marked as Market Day. Meanwhile, trading is particularly high in Goso during the main cocoa seasons. One key challenge that affects trading activities in the town is the state of the roads leading to the markets. Because Goso is a farming community, food items are relatively affordable. A bowl of fufu with 4 pieces of goat meat, which could easily pass for 50 cedis in Accra, costs 11 cedis. Also, tree logging seems to be rampant in the region. However, measures are in place to apprehend illegal loggers. Thus, police barriers stationed at every 500 meters on the road. My trip to Goso was an enlightening experience, though I couldn't treat myself to some biscuits because processed foods are quite expensive here.
Now, the Agric Development Bank's Board of Directors has approved $75 million commercial loan to the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. The fund is expected to help GIFT to undertake big-ticket projects in the country. There is more in this report. The African Development Bank's loan will enable the Ghanaian state-owned institution to efficiently leverage its paid-in equity capital of $325 million to finance several critical infrastructure projects. It will also reduce the country's estimated multi-billion-dollar infrastructure finance deficit. The Africa Development Bank described the loan as an important step to anchor the sustainability of a national infrastructure financing vehicle in Ghana. Since 2016, the fund has committed over 88% of its equity investment capital towards several infrastructure projects within the transport, ICT, and affordable housing projects. It has also successfully mobilized over $1 billion of private capital from both domestic and international sources. The African Development Bank's support aligns with Ghana's Coordinated Program for Economic and Social Development Policies 2017 to 2024 and Medium-Term National Development Policy Framework, as
well as the African Development Bank's 10-year strategy. As of July 2021, the African Development Bank has provided over $3 billion of financing for various projects in Ghana. $600 million of it has been directed towards various road, aviation, and rail transportation projects.
A delegation of the European Union and SNV Ghana have met with selected small and medium-scale businesses in Kumasi. The interaction with the startup businesses in the Ashanti region is to better appreciate how the operations have been positively impacted by the SNV Green Incubation Program. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku has more.
The Green Employment and Enterprise Opportunities in Ghana, otherwise known as GREEN, is a 4-year joint project of the European Union, the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Ghana, the United Nations Capital Development Fund, and SNV. The project, established in the Ashanti and Western regions of Ghana, seeks to address the root causes of irregular migration by supporting sustainable and climate-resilient local economies and green jobs. European Ambassador to Ghana, Aishad Razali, said the European Union is delighted at the creative inventions by the SMEs.
I was amazed by the energy and the brilliant ideas that the MSMEs have in, weathering the consequences of waste, be it plastic, be it oil, be it organic. Brilliant ideas to turn organic waste into animal farms, to turn, vegetables into briquettes. I'm just amazed by the inventivity of these youngsters. This is the reason why the European Union is supporting them. We will be delighted to see those ideas bearing fruit and coming to scale up.
Country Director for SNV Ghana, Anjo Van Toorn, admonished the creation of more green businesses in Ghana to provide jobs to reduce the unemployment rate in the country.
It's really a very enthusiastic group of entrepreneurs who are creating green businesses. And with creating green businesses who can scale further, we create many new jobs for young Ghanaian people, for women and youth. This is really important. Let's go green.
Business Incubation Manager Angela Anane Frempong revealed how enthusiastic the SMEs are for the intense business development training sections they were taking through.
I'm also excited about the fact that they were able to embrace and appreciate the businesses these SMEs are coming up with, and the fact that these SMEs are also enthused and also happy about the teachings and the learnings that we've taken them through over the 6 months period. So we are grateful for their time, we are grateful for the European Union and then the time of the SNV delegation that actually made this happen.
Reporting for Joy Business, Emmanuel Bright Kweku, Kumasi.
And that'll be it for business, but we'll leave you with a summary of international business news, after which we have sports. Do stay with us.
Welcome back to Sports on Joy News Prime. I'm Hans Mensah, and after its rejection
by the Ghana Football Association Club Licensing Committee, the Barbara Stadium is not in perfect condition to host Ghana Premier League games. Love FM's Delali Atiase was at the venue and filed this report.
Currently here at the refurbished Barbara Sports Stadium, to be precise, and this is the facility that will be used by Kumasi Asante Kotoko and King Faisal and some other Division 1 League clubs for the new football season that begins on Friday, the 29th of October. We shall be speaking to Emmanuel Kojo-Apia, who is the acting regional director for sports here in the Ashanti region, about the facility and what he can tell us about the other aspects of it that we are not too much aware of. And so we'll be speaking to Mr. Apia. What can you tell us about supporter comfortability when the league starts?
For the supporters, I think this time around they are going to feel much more comfortable. The seats, they've been fixed, they are okay to enjoy it. The wash rooms, they are all good to go. The floodlights is equally okay. We can also see the scoreboard. We are even testing it. We've been testing it a couple of times and it's good to go. So we are praying to God to have a good day, and then King Faisal, Kotoko, Deportivo and the likes can come and have fun. We can equally see from the VIP, the seats. Previously we had, I think, 155 seats. We've reduced it to 86, thereabout, just for comfortability. And the seats are all in there. We fixed part of them, and by Sunday, all things being equal, we are sure most of them will also be fixed. The second phase, they will move on to the outside walls, changing of furniture. Then we move on to air conditioning and other stuff. But those activities cannot impede the game itself. Okay. And then the second phase, there are plans to move on to swimming pool and then other structures outside the stadium but inside our walls. Okay. Because President and the leaders, they have intention of these 2023 games. So all these things will be in the second phase. But whilst those things are moving on, the games will also be played. Any idea when the second phase is going to start? The moment we start with the game, they will yes. The attention will be on the second phase, and that one they are working, they are putting things in place.
Seats that are going to be placed on the bench for the substitutes and the technical team. And so we just want to talk to the regional sports development officer about how, the teams who come to visit here and the teams who use the facility are going to maintain these seats as well. What do you expect from the clubs?
We have to engage them. Yeah. Yes, they have to talk to their players. I think this is a good thing. It will be good for them to use for a number of years. Yeah. We only plead with them not to tamper with this with blades, that kind of thing. We will again even plead with them. Bringing oil and other stuff on the pitch will not be good for the NSA and then the teams.
And even the oil, they can even stain the seats as well. Yeah.
Sure. So we will plead with them. Certain things, when we discuss with them, they should bear with us. Yeah. And let's all work hand in hand so that this place, these things and the place will be sustained for them.
Okay. So we are just hoping and praying that the supporters and fans who will be trooping to the stadium to come and watch the various league matches and other matches that will be played here will make sure that the facility is maintained and maintained very well. We don't want to see supporters ripping off seats that have been put in here. And so we just employ all those outside, especially the soccer fans who will be here, to come over, just sit down, watch their game, enjoy themselves, and make sure that we maintain the facility at its utmost best. My name is Delali Atiase from Kumasi reporting for Joy TV.
Now let's check out results and fixtures of match day 1 in the Ghana Premier League. And there you go on your screens. Accra Lions 1, Elmina Sharks 1. Tomorrow, it's Dreams FC at the Theatre of Dreams up against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And then on Sunday, Hatfield will play Legon City's 11 Wonders up against Ashanti Gold. Bichim United play Mediama SC. RTU take on Great Olympics at Tamale. BBNE Gold Stars at home play against Brekum Chelsea. King Faisal will play West African Football Academy. Karela at Inyinasi take on Indiana Stars in their season opener. And that'll be all for sports. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sport. I'm Hans Mensando. Many thanks for your time.
And just before we go here on Joy News Prime, a visit to the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is not only to scout for a house, as exhibitors have on display. Several households of accessories are also there. On day 2 of the ongoing fair, my colleague Hannah Odame engaged some of the exhibitors on what they have on offer as you make your way to the conference center tomorrow.
Focusing on those who are either building or renovating, there are lots of offers also available here at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Is it floor slabs you need? Is it furnishing you need? Is it tiles? Are there beds, sofas? Everything is here for you who is building or want to change some things in your house. And I am at the stand of Matital. They will tell us what they do and why you should come to their stand. Araba, tell us about Matital.
Okay, so Matital is a company that provides roofing materials, roofing tiles, and then we have our grease separators and our septic tanks. So our roofing tiles are made of polymer glass. It's a thermoplastic material, and then it is 4 times thicker than the aluminum sheets. It is lightweight. It is very beautiful to look at, and then it is soundproof too. Yes, and then it's thermal insulation too, so it's soundproof. So when it's raining, whether hail or storm, you can sleep peacefully without having the raindrops disturb you.
We have motorbox, the one that you see behind dispatch motorcycles. We also have cones for road construction works. We have CD wash for hand washing in the prevention of COVID. We also have DST tank for septic.
And the patrons who have been trooping here are excited about the juicy deals available.
It's a beautiful concept. Some of the things you wouldn't see ordinarily in the market because you can't go to all these places. But it's a one-stop shop, so this is the best idea I can. And I've seen some doors that I think I like very much, and here we are. The guy is willing to give me up to 15% discount. So we'll be talking after the fair, and then we'll see what happens.
As we are starting our building, I've gotten a lot of new ideas. I'm so impressed. I've decided that I'll contact the experts to do the work than relying on the wayside people.
I was confused when I was coming in as to whether to buy or to rent and own or whatever it is. But I'm so convinced now that I have to buy because I want it quick. And I don't have the time to stress myself with running around with all the things that comes with acquiring a land in Ghana and all the things that comes with it. So I think I've decided to buy.
I'm spoiled for choice. There are a lot that I have seen that I'm interested in. I got a discount for a house that I'm interested in. So that I may also come back and continue my negotiations with them.
This is it, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair promise, and it has surely delivered. Discounts, offers, everything under one roof. You can't afford not to be here. Come to the Accra International Conference Center, where everything for your housing needs is available. My name is Hannah Odame for Joy News.
And I'm Ernest Mino. That's it for Joy News Prime. Many thanks for your company throughout the week. From me and the rest of the team, we say have a great weekend.